Ja, guten Abend. Herzlich willkommen, liebe
Good evening, a warm welcome to the media to this press conference after the second leg of the last 16 match between Liverpool FC and RB Leipzig. Our head coach, Julian Nagelsmann, is available to answer your questions. So first of all, your summary on today's match, please, Julian. I think we deserved to be knocked out, mainly due to today's match, really. The two matches were different, I think, in terms of the assessment. We had a pretty bad initial phase, which was different in the first leg. It took us a while to get used to the match. Liverpool weren't creating a lot of pressure. They were just sitting back and waiting and leaving us the possession. There weren't a lot of emotional moments, really. We were too slow to create actions. We were just possessing the ball. So I think the emotional qualities we've had in recent matches in the league and the cup, that wasn't shown today. There were a few chances Liverpool had in the first half that they all squandered. After a few minutes, let's say 25 minutes, we managed to control the match a bit better, but second half was similar, really. We didn't have a lot of chances. There were a lot of moments that just kind of kept being squandered. We could see that there was a bit of respect in terms of counterattacks, but that respect meant that we kind of reacted wrongly. Then we conceded the first goal, which was a symbolic situation, really. We were defending, but weren't really being effective enough, active enough, and kind of kept too much distance from the attackers. And you could see the quality that they have. Jota's assist and Salah was a great goal. And then with the second goal, it was game over, wasn't it, ultimately? And I've often stressed this, we don't like losing, all of us, but at this time, you just have to admit that the opponent was better, and we just have to accept it. We'll have to admit we're angry, we're sad, but then after, let's say, 12 or 20 hours, we'll focus on the next opponent, Frankfurt, another top team that will be playing in the German league. Thank you. Then questions. Michael Grimes, please, first.
Michael, we can't hear you. Dann machen wir weiter. Die nächste Frage kommt von
So we'll continue with Javier.
How do you feel that your team performed in the way of the midfield battle, and how much did you miss your important players, especially Angelina, with the underlapping and overlapping runs that you normally have?
It's always better with every player in the squad, but with enough good players today and then starting lineup and also on the bench. At the end, Liverpool closed the midfield. It was not that many space between the forwards and the midfield, and the biggest space were behind the defense line of Liverpool, but we have kind of problems to find these spaces because our build-up game were a bit too slow. Most important topic, I think, overall the 90 minutes was that we create numbers up with the ball in our feet and try to dribble with the ball in our feet and try to do numbers up in the midfield and play in half space before the defense line to create numbers up on the wing. But at the end, we were not encouraged enough in the first half to do this. So it was kind of easy for Liverpool to defend flat passes over 30 or 40 meters with too many ball-losing moments, and our counter-pressing were not that good in these moments. So we conceded a lot of chances in the first half. We are kind of lucky that we didn't concede a goal. And in the second half, we conceded 2 goals, and we were not able to create the power and emotional moments to score 3 goals. So it's well deserved for Liverpool that they go into the next round. It's sad for us that we are going out of the Champions League, now we have to focus on the league and on the Bundesliga and come back in the next season and try to do our best in the Champions League when we hopefully qualify again.
Javier, dein Handzeichen ist zwar nicht mehr oben, aber ich nehme an, du willst.
Javier, you don't have the hand up anymore, but I assume you still want to ask a question for Süddeutsche Zeitung? Yes, Mr. Nagelsmann, I heard you say something on the TV before. You said that you tried to, or you have to try to learn lessons from both matches. You were also saying that that there was too much of a mental focus or blockage in your team. I don't know what the lessons are to be drawn then. Is this something that you were saying? That you maybe personally contributed to your team having that mental blockage? Me personally? I don't think so. I don't know, preparation for matches or whatever. Too much. Maybe you were sort of stressing the importance of control too much in the first few minutes? No, I don't think so. I normally reflect my own behavior. I think I was quite courageous in the lineup. I didn't do anything differently, though, from other matches. We just tried to have an approach. I don't think I had any ideas that were too mental or theoretic. Of course, ultimately, there are lessons to be drawn, lessons in terms of football. Sometimes in life, you think too much and it's too difficult to learn from it, but it's I tried to express this before in my own English, which is a bit limited, but I mean, I stress the importance of emotional moments, you know, and fans, supporters are important as well. They can carry those emotions onto a pitch, which makes things easier as well. But today, you know, factually speaking, we didn't have enough emotions on the pitch, and we're all human beings. That's what happens. So the experience from the first leg probably was something that was in the back of people's minds still. And we knew that Liverpool have a lot of pace, are good on breaks, have talents in terms of their strikers. So maybe we didn't have enough courage today that we would have needed. Tom Bachmann for DPA.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Great. Good evening to Budapest, Mr. Nagelsmann. A couple of questions. In the 10th minute, there was a situation with Dani Olmo with a chance. There were 4 or 5 players closely together in the box. Why didn't that happen more often? And then secondly, what you said on the telly sounded like though your team was quiet. I think the atmosphere was kind of weird in the stadium, and that's what we saw on the telly anyway. Is this something you can confirm? Yes, we were being quiet. We don't tend to be a noisy team anyway. That's what that's what I was trying to say. You know, when I was talking about the situation and the fans, but also talking about coaching. Amongst each other, we obviously try to coach from the sidelines. You know, so substitutes on the bench try to coach as well, but we didn't really manage to do that well today. There were 2 or 3 extreme examples where we just didn't talk to each other, and some of the examples where it would have helped more to communicate. But I've said this several times. This is still an area for development where we want to improve that internal communication. So in that situation you mentioned, we were good in the box and the ball just didn't get to the place that it needed to be, then it would have been 1-0 and it would have been a different game. But the reasons why we don't get to the penalty area often enough is that we just have the ball in the first line enough and not in the decisive spaces where it's really painful for the opponent. So as I said, we have to try and improve this. Unfortunately, that's too late for today. It's no longer relevant. Last question, Michael Milewski for Bild. Okay, I hope you can hear me now. Good evening, Mr. Nagelsmann. You were talking about a plan for 12 or 20 weeks when you start preparing for the match against Frankfurt. Can you briefly explain to us what it will be like with the next match against Frankfurt ahead of you? When will you start talking about Frankfurt? When will you start preparing? Well, don't pin me down to 20 hours. I mean, the main message for me is that I'm not a big fan of saying slogans after a defeat like only the league, only the cup. You have to admit that you're disappointed. You can't just ignore that. Even as a manager, you can't do that. For me, that would be a wrong emotional approach. I can't just go to the dressing room now. I will just focus on the Bundesliga now. We can't do that, and the players know that. I'm not going to talk about difficult moments. That's maybe too strong a term, but maybe not so nice moments. You have to deal with them. You have to also create distance and give yourself a bit of time. Your body and your mind need a bit of time to get over it. And if you try to put too much energy into focusing on the Bundesliga straight away, that will not work. We'll have to give it some time. And then tomorrow we'll have a training session anyway, and then we'll fly back. I think at 5 p.m. we'll be in Leipzig, I think. And then the lads are going to go home, and then on Friday we'll meet again for training and for the preparation against the next opponent. And then there'll be final training on Saturday, quite normal. And then the match on Sunday, nothing special. I think my main message really is that you have to allow for, I don't know, anger or disappointment. And then you have to find the right time to tackle your challenge of, in this case, Frankfurt again. Thank you, Julian. Thank you to everybody for the questions, and have a great evening and a beautiful night. Goodbye.